That's right, guys. Well, it is time. Let's take it into our first game of EU. Take it away, gentlemen.
And it all begins. This is going to be week 2, day number 1, and already we see big names taken out. Versu, that's what he's saying. The king is down. Mongrel taken out in his first game. Yeah, and it's not just Mongrel. So many people who've had reputations in their mind of themselves are going to use this first game to try to get rid of them. In that process, though, we might see the opportunities where they just, delve right back and relapse, having a bad kind of circumstance happen to them in these box fights. But already we see the Vic up against Hardy, trying to make that not a circumstance, a situation, trying to end this fight fast, has the shield advantage on the box as well, but there's third parties looming. We know how these fights end up going if they aren't ended fast. Already I think that's C4 that gets thrown from distance, and after that some more shots coming in. The Vic is now on the run.
That he is, and with no builds because of the early game engagement, I think these guys are both going to get wiped. Yes, he has his opponent low, but Downs in the bush. Hold on, Vic actually beamed him for a second there and forced him to get off the trail. He's going to continue the pressure through, and there's a whited floor that makes it so Vic can actually shoot that, but still no materials to be able to try to take that wall, and look how many third parties are coming in.
A war on multiple fronts for Vic, and he's just trying to get as many points as possible here. Takes out Hardy, then goes for the person who was trying to get in. A cheeky shot, hopefully a last hit on that player who was in the box, but now he's trapped on the back wall. Does build up a few layers. The Vic out of mats, has to operate from low ground. I think got his elimination stolen as well previously in terms of the loot.
Which is no siphon, which is no materials. I'm not even thinking about the HP. The materials is what he needs to survive the onslaught, because Anas, who has claimed the house of the agency loot, is right here. Downs has gotten out, and Anas just has to fight the Vic with no materials. That's an easy cleanup, and I think what we're seeing here is people not being ready for how spread out players are going to be on the map in these games, because top 300 again.
Now we see Tads trying to make a better circumstance of his position, but once again, immediate defensive capabilities from his opponent, building up multiple layers. We're seeing these box fights, things that should be slightly low-key, waiting for these things to happen slowly, just explode straight with builds up to the sky. No one can stay hidden. This means third parties will come in even more so, but if Tads has the opportunity to move up and get this fight done, he does. The SMG beam is there, and he takes out Bryzy. Never-ending game to game, and when you're inside these games too, they take so long to get delved and get done, because we know both players will have such good loot and shields to boot as well. But right now, Red Rush taking the first shot of damage. It's not too big. After that, responding back with shots of his own, trying to find a way to get in, but he's taking way too much on the trade. He gets taken out. It's going to be Bafo who wins out on that one.
So from the agency to the yacht, he seems to be a dominant presence at Mythic POIs, and you just have the boat if he needs to rotate out.
These are kind of the solo lull moments you'll see on one side of the map. The loot's still going on, but with how big the lobby is, you'll see fights breaking out in spots you wouldn't expect. Right now, Fury Legendary up in the bush. I think this man will be the operating factor of this fight, because he's not in it yet. And we've seen so far, every third party that comes through is usually the winner of the fight. He's letting this one ramp all the way up. Moon will be the person we're tuning in with, going for shots, being on the forefront of these wall takes of damage as well, because he's taken 40, just trying to get aggressive here. He has a little bit of loot, but it's not the things that you need for endgame. Suddenly, in a 50-50 position, has to escape, gets it done, and now Fury makes the decision to actually move away towards agency and towards zone, where we know that Coolest Carrot will have the utmost advantage as well.
You gotta be careful if you're Moon, and he does. He backs up in the box time and time again as Froggy tries to jump in, and that's not the playstyle you're going to want to have against players who are so good at avoiding, so good at getting away from situations, and also realizing that you're about to jump in their box.
Yeah, and this is someone who jumped in the most aggressive player's box on the other side of things from Downs. It's Versa. We saw take out Mongrel in that early game, now stuck between a bridge where we have an entire audience looking at this fight go down, a river, and an aggressive player on his box with white HP. It's not going to be possible for him to survive much longer. He ultimately gets taken out, I believe, by Downs here in a few more swings of the wall. He's looking for that big shot, misses off the first chance, then gets it. It's Downs who has this entire area now to play with. Both players builds for his base.
I don't know. I think we're going to be sticking to land slightly south of Pleasant Park in between Salty Springs. Zermoon picks one up from range. I think we will be. There might be the river in between, but for the most part, I think we're safe. And I think everybody's breathing a sigh of relief as that fourth zone did reveal. He's a champion, but right now he's sitting in a bush and maybe showing off that all strategies are valid no matter what. This is going to resonate with a lot of different people. But look at that trigger discipline for Andalex. And oh my goodness, this is a really, really good player. Anas runs into the bush and he takes him out. He makes it work. Andalex might be a champion. Almost takes a shot but opts not to, as the player in the distance getting sprayed from multiple different angles. And there he does finally decide he wants to take shots. Is he gonna hit? No.
Ooh, but he finds the tags afterward. Fanta going down, who we saw was also so monumental.
And as the scores develop, don't forget these players are getting very, very close to a number of placement thresholds as they approach top 50. That's going to be the next one for an extra point. But, ooh, Andalex with the beautiful shot there. Finds a gap where Zeno is sticking, and he makes it work. So it might be quiet, but Andalex finding all sorts of opportunities. And he finds one. Actually finds Baffo, who we saw at the very beginning of this game, take out Red Rush. And he has the yacht loot. So, interestingly enough, that could be a free launch pad for Andalex. Or not Andalex, sorry, Nayte.
I mean, not anymore. Lukey instantly takes him out. Possible box fight that he desperately had to try to take. Remember, Storm Surge was active there, and we can see what it makes the best players do. But think about it right now. We have Ermoon, Mage, Andalex. So many top players left in this lobby. This is just game one, and these are not customs, Bala.
Not customs. And we're going to continue to see this throughout the entire day. About 3 games all concurrently going on at the same time. We might be hopping around into various different ones so we can get an eye and vision on how everybody's performing throughout the day. But man, oh man.
the very last game of the European region for day one that we're going to be watching on the broadcast today. It'll be Mitro who we're tuning in with in a 50-50 situation. It's Kinzel. And no matter what mode it is, these guys will always find a way to have that situation drop down.
And that's a situation that Mitro is very, very much familiar with. But Kinzel, former squad mate of Mitro, actually, he's going to make that work. He got the pump shotgun out of it, but quickly gets taken out by Kezix. And I would question that entire sequence at all for Mitro.
It's like Shadow Henchman's yellowing at your ramps. It's a lot to think about, and to try to stay focused winning these box fights. Kezix right now running in circles. I was going to say almost around the competition, but he gets taken straight out by King Bokaj.
Way past the early game, no matter what. The also other thing that happened in that game was it went from the highest points down to the lowest points. As we even see Noward and nayte get taken out. Both players who I think we've been tracking in the top 100. Trulex making a kind of misplay to keep himself down at 56 points. Mongrel in this game takes off a deal over at Sweaty Sands, most likely. So while there's a lot going on, a lot to unpack in this game, I'm wondering where we're going to end up, because another big name gets taken out, and Alex. And he drops over towards the Misty Meadows side of the map. Vibes gets in the box. And the tracking makes quick work of Hoop, but then another big pump. It's a green one too, but he hits max damage onto Fat Rat Alex. Dominates him.
Oh, I was raw. Adjust being on the back end of the fight when he had the lead slightly. I really want to see this man succeed in this fight. The edits are there. He controls a bunch of them. All the walls, I believe, but with quick movements, his opponent has him on the ropes. Now remember, in terms of people like benjyfishy, like we saw with Kinzel and Mitro as well, these are the last games of the day. They will actually give you an insight of what to do for the rest of the competition. Being at 1 HP though, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking straight about the fight, and he's there to knock it down. benjyfishy gets to finally have a victorious moment on the broadcast.
Should be able to make this work. Sebi has just dropped this all down and even tracks through. Has the heavy sniper reloaded, almost went for it, but instantly the other player builds right back up. But a lot of material spent into this. Can Sebi actually catch him? Tries to cone him, but he continues to build up. There's a nice tack shot. Oh, the triple at it! Sebi is a monster with the speed, and that's Swite, who gets swiped down right there. Sebi, 78 points, and the one elim on that massive fight. There's still more here, though, in Weeping Woods.
Yeah, and although sometimes you're not able or allowed to find it, the heavy sniper, key to all doors, will let Sebi do that. And once again, 50-50 position, owns the walls, doesn't actually get the second. It's a third party that comes in, but is he really on the attack, or is he just trying to survive on defense? Because in a box with Sebi, you're asking for doom.
And they both trade heals a little bit. Sebi might have the advantage. I already hear the reload coming in on the other side, so possibly only minis available. Reloading everything. Key going forward so that they're available. Sebi looking for his third in a row. Potential for a quick W. And he does right there. The heavy snipe into the box. Almost gets the wall too. There it is, finally. And you never want to be fighting for that wall. If you're... It's going to be a little rough backing away from air. The pickaxe still coming through. And again, people are playing very aggressively in this game. As the queues were closing, this is probably what we're watching right now. An effect, a W key game. But you have to wonder, when does it stop? When are people actually full committing? A nice shot from Legendary to take out the player who's chasing him, but another party comes in right after that. He does have the momentum, have the movement to actually make his way back out. So now heals up. And I don't think we've seen a queue system with that, except maybe at DreamHack tournaments on LAN. So different styles. Here's Droban in another fight. This is do or die, because I think at this point it's a full commit for the games. And yes, the AR spray. Oh my goodness, last bullet, her last HP available. And Droban makes it. That's coming right up after this. But right now, again, last game of EU, last potential for players to earn their points on day one. This is huge. This is a moment that, I mean, you could tell the tension. You could tell how few people are going down. Listen to the amount of shots go down. This is what you got to be careful for, because as players are playing close to the chest, they're also looking for easy opportunities just like that for Larry. He needed a lot in this game to make this work, to catch up to that first spot. And Hen's gonna heavy snipe RPG it. Yes! Takes out Mongrel and ends his day. He committed to this game, slight gamble, possibly, to catch up to players just like Hen. And he will fall to a player who's above him in the standings right now. We'll have to see where that actually ends. I believe probably around 156 points for Mongrel, but that's the end of the day.
Now we see a little bit of a rare sighting with Cavado, who we only ever see in endgame or at the agency, but just like both those moments, he's precise, superbly accurate, and at the same time, taking big pressure and surviving it. Not even taking a shot of damage just yet. He's looking as strong as we see him in his biggest moments. And although 3 RPGs have hit his head, he is cool, calm, collected, sorting through loot, has 9 floppers to use as well. He's going to drop one of them, but oh, because of that, now finally the RPGs catch up. Maybe a little bit of overconfidence here right now. He's getting comboed through by multiple third parties. I believe this is 2 different people trying to RPG him with an AR that's also just rattling on his metal boxes. Has a lot of mats to work with, but okay, he's taken out.
And it's SrStriker, who sees the opportunity, who sees the pickle that he's in. Right down on low ground, had no room. He was basically half of his body down into the ground in terms of builds. He really had nothing to work with at all. Look at how many people are on the left side of the minimap compared to the right side. And this is a huge ravine, one of the biggest in the games to cross. So difficult situation. Bokaj is going to look all the way down and find Droban, but no launch pad in his inventory. And being up on height right now, I'm wondering if there's going to be a player who uses it up above. Possibilities are there, but that's really what basically everybody needs, though. Looking at the south side, there looks to be a path down low. Here it is. SrStriker there, Larry up there, Hen.
Get to that mission to move up this mountain. Hen will slowly break all the way forward. Right now missing a lot of eliminations, but at the same time trying to actually find a way to play out the rest of this game, caught between a rock and a very high mountain. He's finally making the push, but it's slow, it's methodical. Now picking up 1 elimination, made a little bit of noise. Will people find out that he's here, slightly just makes it in. He can now play out the rest of this game, and it moves even more forward. Above the mountain, dropping down from it again. It's going to be a waterfall scenario, and he actually trays heavy snipers on the back end of one, taking big damage, no white heals available, only 4 seconds to play around with in the storm.
And he has to get up. I see this as a very difficult situation in front of him. I think he wants to get in this box with a heavy snipe. No. So actually just going to build out to the side, uses his brick now. But still, how does he actually make this rotate? There's so many people looking at him, and Zeno will take him out. Running straight at him. Moki in this game, 77 points for her. Potential to rise up in the top 80 for today with this one game. Top 26 right now. She has a launch pad to work with to get across, and she's going to use that. Goes out to the side to make sure that her head does not get blocked, and should be able to pick from a lot of nice positions here in zone, but really not too many people high up at all, so she's going to be playing down on the mid ground.
Yep, smartly skipping the most difficult part of this end game competition. She now looks to see if she can make a base in zone and turn back for those beams, for those big 4 points in Elim. But no, instead, choosing to go for possible box ups. Just make sure her base is strong. Now she's side by side with multiple players. Finally, almost has a lair of her own. No big power weapons in this loadout, so it'll have to be builds and shots she has to take. Possible high ground maneuvers available as well, but her mats are starting to run low. Now, completely out of metal, on the back end of just 200 brick, she has to find a way to refresh. 0 eliminations so far, Bala. She's only playing off of replacement so far, but finds another launch pad.
A nice launch pad too. She opts to go past where she needs to go because the zone is going to continue to reveal low ground positions. And she does land directly on top of Kaiser, but also Faye, who does break in her box. That's going to be a fight that she might have to take. Meanwhile, Vibes on the mid ground, very high up. He's got floppers if he needs to, but this is going to start to drop off this mountain a little bit. He does get the Storm Elim on the Zeno, and that's going to be really nice, is that Siphon. But then all the way down to low ground is a lot of different players thinking the same thing as we approach in the top 10.
And it's only the 7th zone, so it can bounce back right now. Fanta has control of the high ground, taking out the other Xeno who was in the game. Vibes looks to be the king of low, and no map battles down below. He has the control of the piece. It's the wall. Jason gets taken out, and Vibes is now low ground, feeling really good, controlling everything and a big abundance of maps, but I'm concerned maybe possibly overbuilding here. He now only has 5 left, a pump available, but limited options.
And he didn't actually get the refresh materials off of that. Moki finds Kura. I believe this might be right next to... There's a heavy snipe in. Oh no! Pulled out the mini Kaiser with a big blunder by accident. And failing on the execution a little bit. Saves Vibes a little bit because he has the materials now. Shizolele and Red Rush in a fight with a minigun. They're really, really high up, but Red Rush has that grappler to make things work.
Yeah, Red Rush is trying to be as loud as possible. Now finally drops down. Too much action for him, and 2 back-to-back pumps from Vibes. The last person left alive, I believe, is Moki on height, who stays cool, calm, and collected the whole game through.